is solution finding. Yeah. So in the midst of, oh my God, a hurricane is coming. Okay. You want to feel like, all right, if I get through this, I'm going to make some changes. Or, all right, I can do this. It's not going to be fun, but I'm going to deal with it as it arises. It's not in my control anyway. Or, this is teaching me a lot. And next time I'm in this situation, I'm going to do it differently. Can you hear that? There's these different ways of dealing with things in a positive way, as opposed to hunkering down, feeling powerless, being angry, blaming it onto others, or going into some kind of fantasy la la land. Okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's really about going through. So the only way to overcome all this and to embrace change is by going through it. Yeah, break through. Welcome, everybody, to our energy update for the week 34, the 13th till the 20th of August 2021. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy coach and energy therapist, guiding you through these truly crazy, amazing times that we're in right now. Don't take my upbeat for blind faith or blind trust. I want to talk to you about how integration happens, what the deeper aspects of change are, and where we can find ourselves here as a collective right now, and what needs to be done, and hopefully also give you advice on what you can do to feel more confident. Yeah, so this coming week will be very interesting, has a lot of surprise elements, and really sends us through the cycle of change in like a fast forward. Okay, so there are some things that I've already mentioned in the addendum to last week's energy update, things that are coming in now that are really leading to a shift. Our job here as individuals, as people who are trying to digest and process and work with all of whatever is happening on the outside, this overlay that you are feeling that is constantly there, even if you're diligent about not spending too much time on social media. It doesn't matter. There doesn't seem to be a lot of space anymore for neutrality, for just being in that middle ground center space where you have time and enough space for you to come to your inner opinion, your inner feeling for something. And this is what this next week will provide for us in a good way. Also in a way that we will recognize things, see things with different eyes. I've already mentioned that a lot of it has to do with us being able to see the bigger picture. So when it comes to the challenges of next week, it's really about staying in neutrality, not really being too much sort of emotionally riled up by what it is that you're seeing going on the outside. These things have to go through their cycles. We will have new revelations. There'll be a lot of new data coming forward here in this next week, which will suddenly put a whole new light on things. And what you will see, speaking about collective gaslighting, about our global situation, about our, challenges that we have right now with all that is going on, is that the lingo will change. And this will not come forward in a way that authorities or responsible parties step forward and say, hey, we made a mistake, or, things are different now. The gaslighting is continuing, but for the conscious observer like yourselves, it'll be visible. These things are still not really making any difference, because we know that the the collective as a mass, so to speak, has this inertia. It moves slower. And so you begin to see that things that you've always felt, things that you that just didn't add up for you, that they are starting to make sense. So you personally will be able to get to more to a stance of more clarity, yeah, where you feel more integrous with yourself. All these things that I talked about last week, this doubting yourself, literally questioning if you're the crazy one, that will let go, that will stop over this next week. It'll come a little bit with ups and downs, but by the end of the week, you're really going to feel this, and you're going to feel some release there. This doesn't resolve anything, though. And I talk a lot about change as a coach. Obviously, that's my business. And there are these stages that we all have to go through before we can actually step into this deliberate action or conscious decision making, as I often call this. First comes a phase of grieving where we feel like, oh my God, it's either that we lost our innocence or that we've lost our hopes and dreams. In this case here, with our overall situation in the world, since it's blocking everybody, it's blocking us from making decisions in regards to our work, in regards to our relationships, in regards to where we live, how we want to embody our life. It's blocking everybody. It's blocking companies. It's blocking, things, because we constantly think about, oh, well, but what if it goes that way? Or what if it goes that way? So that part, has to be accepted first, that there is a development here for all of us that will just be different. We have to accept that things will be different. And we cannot rely on these safety or security mechanisms that we used in the past, most of which didn't really work that well anyway. In other words, the grieving or the loss that we perceive at first is that we have to let go of all these things that we thought would work. Yeah. Then the next part is where, or the next phase is where we start getting a little scared. This is kind of like what is happening right now, where we suddenly see, like a child that awakes, oh my God, the world is much bigger than I thought, and I have much less control than I thought. In that phase, and this will probably be where the mass, the collective, will kind of get stuck in a bit in next week. There is a lot of releases, a lot of anger that comes forward, because we wanted to believe so much. We wanted everything to be the way it was. We wanted everything to be safe. Guys, I'm not insinuating anything, and I'm not going to talk about COVID or vaccines or anything here in this update. I just want to walk you through the inner integration process and what happens to people psychologically. So expect a release. Release on a conscious level always means that there is loud voices that are coming forward, that people who have been suppressing a lot of these things, or have felt suppressed, maybe including yourself, are really going to come out and find their voice. Okay, but most of that will still be driven by fear and anger, which means it's not quite safe yet, because we can only really make good decisions, informed decisions, deliberate decisions, if we can feel something on the inside, something that is so unmistakable that we know exactly what needs to be done. And what you can do right now is that you can put yourself into that place. Yeah, you can cultivate that neutral zone with yourself, where you just go into this sort of no nonsense with yourself, where you say, all right, if it is this way, it means that I have to be more flexible. It means that I cannot really rely on, things that I have used as a security structure inside of me, that is now accepted. And it means that I need to have very, very clear priorities. I need to know exactly what it is that will put me into a place of being able to respond to whatever comes. We basically have to agree to dealing with things as they arise in real time. And that's where we begin to discover new options. That's where we begin to discover that, okay, it's something that you can use this as a visual that we know here in Florida. We have hurricane season every summer, right? And it's clear that we will have hurricanes, and it's never clear where they're going to hit. But if they hit, it usually means destruction, loss, and some kind of discomfort, just dealing with the circumstances of this, whether it be sleepless nights, or having to remove debris, or dealing with damages on your house. It doesn't matter, but your mind knows that when there is a hurricane approaching, that you're gonna have to deal with something. And it's normal to first go into this panic the moment you realize that, oh shit, a hurricane is coming. Yeah, it activates this fight, flight, or freeze in you, and you go into this, oh my God, and what do I need to do? And it's quite irrational. Luckily, we have these forewarning systems now that give us 2-3 days to process that. This is the time that we are in right now. We are in this processing time where we can think clearly, where we can say, okay, if it is the case, and if this hurricane comes here, what do I need to pay attention to? What do I need to do first? What are the essentials? What do I really need to get through this? Okay, I can give you an example how this goes for me. My kids, my dogs, my family, as a sort of conglomerate, making sure that they're all safe, having some kind of, okay, guys, if then kind of strategy, and making sure that the most fundamentals are covered. I've lived without power for 2 weeks. I've lived without water for 2 weeks, and I'm still here. So none of that is the end of the world. All we need to have is something like a first aid strategy. Okay, when kids are involved, it's very important that we work with the kids, that we're honest with the kids, but not graphic, that we help them through this scare with sort of a grown-up adult confidence, where we say, okay, this is what it is. We know this happens every year. You're going to be fine. Here's what we're going to do. All right. And we're just going to make this as, I want to say, fun. When we have hurricanes, I always try to create something fun for the kids to get their minds distracted a little bit. But obviously, when it comes to our global situation, it's difficult to see fun in this right now. So for us, the part that can help our mind to get off this sort of emotionality about it, yeah, like, oh, maybe impatience, or maybe actual fears of losing your job, fears of losing privileges, or things like this. I can assure you that there is a life after all this, okay, that we will know how to deal with this better in just a few months. But for now, we're going to have to be fully present and deal with things real time, okay? We have to work with the info that we have. You can use your intellect, your understanding, also your understanding of why it is important to not go for fear, to not allow your mind to race into these alternative realities either way, yeah, to just stay focused on the task. All right, so coming back to this hurricane analogy, I need water for a day. I need, just something that can make it comfortable for us. Comfort is something that really helps your psyche to deal with things in a little sort of, say, calmer way, yeah. of having some kind of idea of, like entertainment idea, maybe along with it, playing a game, or, allowing us to be present in the moment, say when the hurricane goes over us and rattles on the house, okay? You create something that distracts you enough to not go into this hyper emotionalized place, but also to stay calm and present. And as this is going on, okay, and this is something that our psyche has a hard time anticipating, you will recognize that it's, half as bad as you thought it was, okay? You will see, okay, I'm in this now, I'm going through this right now, and actually, as I'm going through this, it's only, a tiny fraction of fear that I'm experiencing compared to how much fear I experienced just anticipating or waiting for it. Do you guys know what I mean? So this is something that I would suggest that you focus on. You focus on that when you deal with things, that new powers in you are being released. You are experiencing something that we call agency. You are experiencing yourself as being capable of going through something, and that unleashes a new perspective. With your new perspective, it unleashes new perception, and you suddenly begin to see new solutions. So what I'm trying to share here with you is to not go into extremes. We are in this sort of breakthrough moment here that starts a new cycle till January, and it's going to come with release. And you just have to see that it's not about being for or against something. This is basically the illusion. That's the gaslighting, that you only have these two options. You need to see that there is a space in between where you can be fully present and smart, and yes, you can have fear. I recommend all of you to actually be honest with yourself and say, yes, I am afraid of this and this and this. Give this a voice. If you don't have anybody to talk to, then write it down, but don't try to suppress it or think that there's anything wrong with you. Because you're having fears, all that is human and all that is okay. But just because you are experiencing fear or the anticipation of a hurricane doesn't mean that you are powerless, doesn't mean that you have no options, doesn't mean that you are a pro-hurricane or an anti-hurricane person, okay? You know what I mean. Instead, I would suggest that you focus on new projects. What is it that the world needs? And how can I contribute to this? How can I help other people? How can I, with this unexpected turn that things are going to take here in these coming weeks, okay? How can I, provide this sense of agency, this calmness, all right, for other people to see that there is this space, that it's okay to be neutral, that it's okay to be conscious and observant, and to see things with absolute clarity, but to not feel, sort of pulled into, acting in extreme ways. This is not going to help. On the positive side, if you look at the wellness calendar, by the end of next week, there was something like a luck factor, like something unexpectedly positive coming in. And don't quote me on this, because it can still subjectively feel like a tragedy, because sometimes luck or fortune comes with something that our ego resists at first. It comes in a way that where we say, oh, why do I have to deal with this? Oh my God, this is so bad. It only turns out to be fortunate at a later time. So stay open for that. This time is all about inner integrity. This is about you learning from the past, you really using all this experience now that you have as a person, as a conscious true self here in this world, and do something with it, to embody it, to bring it into, the real world here by showing that you have grown, show that you grow. And as you were evaluating how you can do that, how you can grow, I strongly advise you to look at your conditions, your relationships, your workplaces, as I did in the addendum to week 33, to really look at if these relationships, these places, these people, these jobs, companies, and so forth, if they are supporting you in your growth, or if they're holding you back or even blocking you. So this is how someone who's in neutrality operates. This is how you can see that. You look at things the way they are. You accept the way they are, but you don't jump into conclusions or assumptions about what that means. You look at, what are my conditions? What is conducive? What is not? What supports me? What degrades me? What helps me to move forward? What is holding me back? And as I said yesterday, sometimes that means that you are going to have to be firm on boundaries. Sometimes it means that you will feel that you have to walk alone. Sometimes you will be afraid of needing to leave others behind. All right, this doesn't come without conflict, but this is exactly what allows you to go into this higher vibratory solution finding, where you can, end this inner duality. Yeah, we all have that in us as humans, but we also have this ability, this divine consciousness in us that allows us to transcend this. And that's kind of like where I see this next week. You're going to come to that realization that you literally have a choice. You can go the way of duality and choose to get riled up and choose to act sort of according to your fears or to your anger, or you can choose to see through all this, to see the opportunity in that, as you are still recognizing the threats that are there and your weaknesses in that. So my tip is focus on your strengths, focus on the opportunities that are in here, and see how you, in real time, you don't have to have it all figured out already, can bring this into your life. Yesterday I said, initiate things, initiate changes. This is the week for very, very fortunate changes. You don't have to have found a new home yet, or have to have found a new job yet. You need to initiate that, and that comes from inside. That is the deliberate action, the intention, it's felt. It's not just sort of a mental idea. Oh, theoretically that would be the best. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you really coming to that place from within and say, I know what I need to do. I've no clue yet how I'm going to do this, but I'm going for it. This is what I decide my integrity, my virtue to be. And so that said, it's also a week of finding our inner integrity. And for many of you, this can lead to the beginning of something really big, really new sort of chapter in your life in a good way, even if it comes with a little bit of a hurricane at first. Okay. Physically, what I'm feeling coming on is a lot of fogginess in your head, headaches, first and second, seventh chakra, so your root and your crown are being triggered at the same time, and you're, sort of these wounds, these original wounds that we have, they're going to get triggered, but you're going to be able to see, hopefully, the bigger picture. So if you have a headache, if you feel this overlay here, this has to do with etheric energies on a collective level. It's not just you. Don't think you're sick. go inward. Thank your body for being such a miraculous system, such a miraculous suit or a vessel that helps your soul to embody here in 3D and honor it in this way. So yeah, thank your body for being here, and go into the sense of agency with your body, together with your body. Yeah, you can do this. This concludes the energy tips here for this next week. A lot of talking, a lot of words. We can reflect on this here for a moment. What are some of the thoughts that are coming up for you when you hear me talk about the next week, or just our overall situation in this way? What are some of the feelings that are coming up? Any questions? What are some of the things that you are currently experiencing as your personal challenge in, say, maybe staying grounded, staying neutral? What are some of these things that you are struggling with? Does anybody want to share?
It's Cheryl, Jona.
Hi, Cheryl.
This isn't so much as a struggle, but a feeling of excitement that's been coming in, and it feels really strong right now.
Okay.
It feels like a renewal is coming, and there's an excitement that comes with it.
Okay.
Of course, uncertainty, because I don't know what it is, but it feels like it's been building, and it does feel like it's definitely could be seen in a dualistic way, that it's not good or that it's awesome, but if I'm excited, I can feel the excitement that
Does it motivate
and then
you?
I can feel what you speak of. Yes.
Okay.
Very much so.
Okay,
Taking
so
care of
this is-
things that needed to be taken care of,
Yes.
eccentric.
Yeah. So that's the part here that I wanted to get across. And I know that sometimes, when the fear takes over, the excitement about change isn't really felt. But thanks for sharing this, Cheryl. Being excited about change is something that many of you guys have literally been praying for, and this is happening right now. Okay, so thankfully we're not in the Middle Ages anymore. Thankfully we are not 100 years ago anymore. These things are happening much more on the inside now than they're happening on the outside. Okay, and even though the outside is going a little crazy right now, this is all about us realizing that we are the change. Guys, we will make the change. Yeah, and so being excited about something that might be cringy, that might be scary, that is the kind of energy that this divine inner child, okay, this creativity in us unleashes solution finding. Yeah, so in the midst of like, oh my God, a hurricane is coming, okay, you want to feel like, all right, if I get through this, I'm going to make some changes. Or, all right, I can do this. It's not going to be fun, but I'm going to deal with it as it arises. It's not in my control anyway. Or, this is teaching me a lot, and next time I'm in this situation, I'm going to do it differently. Can you hear that? There's these different ways of dealing with things in a positive way, as opposed to hunkering down, feeling powerless, being angry, blaming it onto others, or going into some kind of fantasy la la land. Okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's really about going through. So the only way to overcome all this and to embrace change is by going through it. Yeah, breakthrough. This is the breakthrough week. Becky's sharing, yes, emotional releases and grief. And for me, it feels like the authority, the authenticity testing you've mentioned, yes, and opportunities to choose something different. Then going into fear-based solutions like in the past. So going into fear-based solution, like in the past, would mean you haven't learned anything. Authenticity testing always has to do with our inner integrity. And for as long as we are not aware what our integrity is, authenticity tests, they kind of go by us, okay? And we don't even realize how we're violating our own integrity. So this is why this needs to be a conscious and deliberate thought process. It needs to be something that we not just thought, it's a think-feeling process where we feel this within, that when a certain boundary is crossed, that this doesn't work. I always say it with this emotion behind it. When I say, no matter how you twist or turn it, no matter how you want to see it, it's not okay. It doesn't work for me. Yeah, that would be sort of the place that you want to arrive to become strong enough to set boundaries when your authenticity is tested. There is a positive version of that, and that is where you work with, you feeling something, or you being prompted, or you getting a strong impulse to do something. You can say to yourself, I have no answers. I don't know where this is going. There are no guarantees, but I can feel it in my bones that this is something I need to try. This is something I need to do. I need to try my best, because if I don't, I'll regret it. I'll have regrets later, or I will not be able to trust in myself. Can you guys feel that? It's that place in you where you literally having this conversation with yourself and saying, okay, this is a moment where I need to be awake, where I need to make some choices. Yeah, not whether I'm pro or against. Okay, this is not what this is about. This is about how I'm conducting my life, how I am setting myself up for the future. Yeah, yesterday I've called it finding healthier ways, finding more conducive, and in many of our cases, also higher vibratory, yeah, or just more supportive ways of living. And supportive always also means sustainable in regards to money, in regards to relationships, and so forth. That is what needs to be our priority. And if you have your little first aid kit packed up, ready somewhere, and that helps you to stay safe, then do so. Yeah, but make sure that your little first aid kit is not a whole entire suitcase with a household that you wouldn't even be able to take with if you had to leave. Yeah, I don't know if you can understand how I got there. So do what you need to do to feel safe in that most essential minimalist kind of way. Yeah, but already look ahead and have a strategy how you in general can produce a more sustainable lifestyle with yourself, with others, and the environment. All right, guys, let's go inward. Let's stop talking about inner integrity and neutrality and experience it from within. The most important part of these weekly energy updates, namely really allowing ourselves to go into that space of neutrality where we can process these things and come to our own sense of authenticity and integrity. Okay, ready, guys? Lean back and enjoy the 20-minute meditation. Understand this space that you can create within yourself, how that can help you make better decisions, help you to gain clarity. Yeah. This particular meditation guided you through a chakra balancing exercise. It basically goes through all the different layers of neutrality, because there's different aspects to that, and it's very conducive. The new energy course that I announced yesterday, so if you're part of my email list, you got that info. It goes really deep into training those kind of things, not just chakras, also how you can use your energy to protect yourself, how you can use your energy for truth testing, and so forth. Many of you are already familiar with these energy awareness trainings here at transCODES. I just wanted to point out that this is maybe a perfect new beginning for one of you who has always been thinking about maybe wanting to learn more about your own inner energy and how to proceed. It's a 6 weeks course. It happens once a week on Saturdays, basically where you take that day and there is 3 energy sessions and 1 webinar, 6 weeks in a row, where we can experience these things together, and I guide you through the different processes of energy awareness and etheric visioning. Oh, that's cool, Nigel, that this meditation really hit home for you. Very cool. Yes, it is that space that I was referring to. And sometimes it takes some time, you know. If we don't cultivate that, if we don't cultivate how our basically our spiritual first aid kit, how to get into the neutral zone with ourselves, it's very difficult to have clear thoughts and clear emotions. So that is what I can truly recommend to everybody, to cultivate that, because it's an internal process. And we're just at the very beginning here in our collective to recognize the importance of that internal space. Yes, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a good weekend. Could be a little, you know, up and downy, all right? But understand that all that is like a graduation gift for you, all right? This is all showing you how far you've come, how much you've learned, and that you are indeed capable of transcending outer things, yeah? That you're not powerless. It's been wonderful sharing the space with you. Share these videos. Let everybody know that transCODES offers all these trainings for everybody, step by step, no matter whether you're a beginner or advanced. This is what we do. Thank you. See you next week. Bye-bye.